Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're diving into Remarkably Bright Creatures, a novel that's as tender as it is surprising.
It really is. It's the kind of book that sneaks up on you. On the surface, it's about an elderly woman working at an aquarium and an octopus, but beneath that, it's about how loss and connection shape us.
Yeah, when you first hear old woman and an octopus, it sounds unusual, almost whimsical. But it's deeper than that, right?
Exactly. Shelby Van Pelt uses that premise to explore grief and resilience. Tova Sullivan, the 70-year-old protagonist, cleans after hours at an aquarium. She's meticulous, quiet, still grieving her son who vanished years ago and her husband who died recently. Her routine keeps her going.
So cleaning tanks becomes kind of symbolic for her.
It's absolutely symbolic. Her nightly rituals, scrubbing glass, polishing surfaces, are like tiny acts of survival. The routine lets her maintain control in a world that's taken too much from her. It's her way to impose order when meaning has slipped away.
That's such a beautiful idea. And then into that ordered world comes Marcellus, the octopus.
Yes, and Marcellus changes everything. He's clever, sardonic, incredibly observant. Through his perspective, we see humanity reflected from a creature who's technically captive but mentally freer than most people around him.
I love those sections. They're funny but surprisingly wise. He watches humans and sort of sees our absurdity.
Right. He knows we're trapped by our own routines and griefs in ways that feel metaphorically similar to his glass tank. That's one of the book's brilliant insights, the idea that freedom isn't just physical, it's emotional.
So, when Marcellus and Tova start interacting, what happens?
Their connection begins wordlessly. Tova works late, Marcellus observes her. He senses her sorrow. Gradually, they form a quiet bond. Shelby Van Pelt turns that bond into a catalyst for both of their transformations. It's not sentimental, it's full of humor and clarity.
It almost feels like he's a therapist with tentacles.
Ah, yes, that's a good way to put it. He notices everything, sees the patterns she can't. And later, he takes action, like retrieving small objects, to help her uncover truths she's long avoided.
That brings me to Cameron's storyline. He's such a contrast to Tova.
Completely. Cameron's a young drifter, frustrated, lost. He's been searching for his father's identity his whole life. When he shows up in Seoul Bay, the same seaside town where Tova lives, he doesn't realize the threads connecting them.
I liked how his restlessness mirrors Tova's stillness.
Yes, they're opposites on the surface, one at the beginning of life, one near its twilight, but emotionally, they're both orbiting the same emptiness. Tova searches for closure, Cameron searches for origin. That symmetry gives the novel emotional depth.
So, when Cameron ends up working at the aquarium too, things start converging.
Exactly. It feels natural, not forced. Shelby uses the setting, the ocean, the tanks, the rhythm of tides, as a metaphor for how lives overlap. Fate in this story isn't magical, it's organic.
The underwater world seems to echo everything happening above ground.
That's beautifully said. The sea is constant, mysterious, sometimes cruel, sometimes healing. For human characters who feel adrift, the ocean becomes both a mirror and a guide.
And then there's this mystery element about Tova's son's death.
Yes. Years ago, her son Eric disappeared at sea. She never learned what truly happened. His absence became this unspoken wound she built her life around. Through alternating perspectives, the novel slowly reveals how Eric's story connects to Cameron's.
Right, and Marcellus actually helps uncover that connection.
That's my favorite part. While everyone's wrapped up in human drama, Marcellus notices the clues, a bracelet, a photograph, small details others overlook. Despite being near the end of his life, he becomes the one creature able to tie everything together.
It's almost ironic. An octopus understands humanity more than the humans do.
Yes, and that irony gives the book its emotional core. Marcellus's intelligence makes him reflective, but his empathy makes him heroic. Before he dies, he makes sure Tova and Cameron confront the truth and their shared history.
That revelation changes everything for them, doesn't it?
It does. For Tova, learning that Cameron is connected to her son, literally through family ties, helps her find closure that she thought was impossible. For Cameron, it's like discovering a compass after years of wandering aimlessly.
I found that resolution deeply satisfying, not in a flashy way, but in a quiet, human way.
Exactly. The novel avoids melodrama. Instead, healing arrives through understanding, through people seeing each other clearly for the first time. It's gentle but full of emotional weight.
Let's talk about Marcellus's final moments. They're heartbreaking but also peaceful.
They are. He's old, his body failing, octopuses don't live long, but his mind remains sharp. He escapes one last time, acts deliberately to reunite Tova and Cameron. His death isn't tragic, it feels like a gift. He dies knowing he fulfilled his purpose,
It's unusual to feel so strongly about a non-human character.
Shelby writes him with such empathy that you forget he's a creature. He becomes a lens through which we see humanity differently. His perspective reminds us that intelligence comes in many forms and compassion isn't limited to our species.
I love that. So, after Marcellus's passing, how does the story conclude?
The tone becomes serene. Tova and Cameron begin to rebuild their lives. There's no fairy tale ending, but there's belonging. Tova finds comfort in Cameron's presence. Cameron discovers roots and family. It's an ending that feels earned.
And the theme of belonging really shines there.
Yes. The book insists that belonging isn't about blood alone. It's about recognition, being truly seen and valued. Even across species, across generations, that's the thread that ties everyone together.
That's such a gentle philosophy.
It is. Shelby Van Pelt wants readers to believe in small miracles, moments when empathy crosses boundaries you'd never expect.
I notice how the ocean keeps returning as an image of renewal.
The ocean is like the book's heartbeat. It's relentless but rhythmic. Things get carried away by tides, but they also return transformed. Every major moment, the loss, discovery, and peace, happens against that backdrop.
So the aquarium isn't just a setting, it's symbolic of life contained, observed, and sometimes broken open.
Absolutely. It represents containment, yet it's where freedom begins. Tova's cleaning isn't just maintenance, it's restoration. Marcellus's escapes aren't rebellion, they're expressions of purpose. The aquarium holds grief and hope in equal measure.
I also admired how humor surfaces in such a heavy story.
Yes. Marcellus's voice injects humor right where you'd expect despair. His dry observations keep the story from feeling too somber. It reminds us that even intelligence can be playful.
So, despite all the sadness, the book feels uplifting.
That's the magic. It acknowledges grief's depth but points toward renewal. It says, you can be bent by loss but still find light. It's never sentimental, it's quietly brave.
Was that Shelby Van Pelt's main goal, you think, to show courage in ordinary endurance?
Very much so. She wrote Tova's routines as acts of resilience. Just showing up, cleaning tanks, keeping things tidy, that's her defiant way of saying life goes on. The book honors that kind of everyday courage.
I think that's what makes readers connect to Tova. We all understand finding meaning in small tasks.
Exactly. The story validates those tiny gestures, a polished floor, a returned key, as ways of coping. It tells us healing doesn't require dramatic transformation. Sometimes noticing and kindness are enough.
That idea, that redemption can come from something as simple as noticing, is beautiful. I kept thinking about how time reshapes us, like the author mentioned.
Yes. The novel continuously shows how time bends people. Tova's life compresses around loss until new connections stretch it again. Cameron's life expands once he learns who he is. Even Marcellus's short span of existence becomes vast through purpose.
So it's really about transformation through empathy more than through dramatic events.
Exactly. The transformations are internal. There's growth in awareness, courage to face truth, willingness to forgive oneself. That's what makes it so relatable.
Do you think the use of multiple perspectives, Tova, Marcellus, Cameron, helps achieve that?
Definitely. Each voice offers a different lens, and when they overlap, you realize empathy means seeing from outside your own viewpoint. The switching perspectives encourage readers to do the same.
It's interesting how Marcellus's sections feel almost philosophical.
Yes, his tone gives the book depth. He analyzes humans as if studying another species. It's humorous but profound. He sees us striving to escape invisible cages.
Did you find that framing effective for exploring grief?
Very much so. It lets readers approach grief indirectly, from an observer's standpoint. When an octopus empathizes with human sorrow, we're reminded that pain and longing are universal experiences.
That universality really hits at the end.
It does. The last image, Tova stepping out into the dawn, hearing the tide, captures acceptance without erasing sadness. Grief fades, connection remains.
That's what stays with you, how quiet it feels yet how strong.
Yes, the novel closes in stillness rather than grand resolution. It teaches that peace isn't a cure, it's a new rhythm.
I like that. It's not everything's okay now, it's I can live with this and I can see others clearly.
Exactly. Shelby Van Pelt turns emotional endurance into beauty.
So overall, how would you describe the novel's message in one sentence?
That life's bright creatures, human or not, connect us through empathy, proving that even within grief, kindness can remake the world.
That's lovely. And for someone who hasn't read it yet, why should they?
Because it reminds you that healing can come from the most unexpected places, from a conversation you didn't anticipate, or in this case, from an octopus who sees you better than you see yourself.
Well, that's a pitch hard to resist.
It really is. Once you meet Marcellus and Tova, you won't forget them.
Thank you for diving into all of this. It's been such a thoughtful chat.
My pleasure. It's always a joy to talk about stories that make us feel a little more human.
So that's it for today's episode.
Yeah. And if you haven't picked up Remarkably Bright Creatures yet, do. It's gentle, smart, and will leave you seeing the world a bit differently.
Perfect note to end on. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time.
Take care and keep noticing the bright creatures around you.